Hello, friends. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about something that I absolutely love to talk about as a women's health specialist, and that has to do with changing our mindset in order to improve and invest in a nurturing and empowered relationship with our bodies. So usually it's leading up to the summer or right when summer starts to get into full swing that most women I know have some sort of a narrative or some sort of a tape or a story on repeat in their minds. And it has to do with this idea of get smaller, try to get thin, try to kind of make your body smaller so that it will be more appealing to other people. We have been conditioned as women in Western society to be attractive and appealing to other people. And in our culture, that means always on this quest to lose a few extra pounds and be just a smaller version of whatever our body naturally is. So maybe that discomfort shows up when you're putting on your new bathing suit or a bathing suit in your new body at this age and stage, and you're noticing that you're feeling uncomfortable in it. Or maybe it's when you're spending time at the pool or you're on a beach vacation and you're wearing less clothing than you normally do, and you end up spending more time in your head and less time just present in the water with your family or just enjoying the simple pleasure of being in the warm sun or being in the cool water. And there's this like familiar voice in the background of our minds that's like calculating and comparing and, trying to think about the way to navigate the experience you're in, trying to make yourself smaller or thinking about what you should have done in order to be more comfortable in that moment or thinking about what you could do in the future in order to change your body, in order to make yourself more comfortable in the moment. If this sounds like you or it's something that happens for you, my friend, you're not alone. And I love talking about how midlife can be a wonderful time to evolve that kind of automatic response that our mind does. Like we notice our bodies, we notice an imperfection in our bodies, and we start to plan how to make our bodies change, or usually it's get smaller. It's this like shrinking woman for desirability and attractiveness idea. And girl, that idea probably started inside your brain at a very young age. Depending on your upbringing and your culture and your community, those messages can come in very, very young. And so I love midlife for an edit or a reboot or like a resistance and moving from getting smaller to getting stronger, from getting smaller to being more connected and intentional and like taking up more space in a renewing and life-giving way when we're thinking about our relationship with our bodies. Midlife is perfect for this because one, midlife bodies do change and our bodies behave in different ways and they need different things in us in order to have healthy metabolism, healthy muscular structure, and healthy mind and body connection. So the strategies you might have used to try to care for or control your body may not work anymore in midlife. And I think midlife is the invitation to change things up, both from how you're taking care of your body perspective, but also in the way you see your body, in the way that you see yourself. And I hope in a loving and renewed relationship with this one precious body that you get to do this life with. The other reason why midlife is the perfect time for this change up is that if you're listening to this podcast, you're a mom, and chances are you are a working mom. And so your schedule is full of caregiving for other things, other processes, and other people. And it is easy to feel discouraged or really overinvest with rigidity on long format or intense practices that don't serve our bodies well in midlife. So midlife is an invitation to one, prioritize yourself with intentionality and with care, but also to change up what you're doing to care for your body so that it has a healthy weight balance and healthy muscle tone. And we're really moving the needle from being skinny to being strong when we're working on those midlife body principles, but also a change up in our mindset. Most women I talk to feel like I want to give less FUCK S's. I want to step into a more empowered, self-accepting version of myself that isn't dictated by old things that it has been dictated by in the past. And that is kind of from a place of heart centered love and trust and not on anybody else's terms. So if you've been kind of nearing that like desire to be really accepting and really strong in yourself, this episode is also for you. And if you haven't quite gotten there yet, this will serve as your inspiration to move in that direction. So when I talk with women in my mentoring programs and when I listen to podcasts that are all about women's health, the main thing that I hear women being really stuck in a rut around, whether it be in habit rut or mindset rut, is the idea of restricting as a lifestyle and the idea of long format exercise sessions that are meant to condition and change your body to become smaller. And while I think it is okay to want to invest in a balanced nutrition practice for your mind and your body's health, and while I do think it's okay to want to improve your metabolic health and really invest in a healthy weight range and body composition for your body type, I think the general advice, the diet culture advice that we've all been kind of grown up with and living off of for the past, 35 plus years, that old frame is ready to change. The loving, connected, empowered, caring relationship tone that you want, you within you, needs to be extended into the health of your body and in the way that you're viewing and treating your body as well. So we're going to look at those two most common pitfalls, restricting and delaying eating, and then long format exercise sessions as the two little edits that you can make that would transform your mindset from shrinking and smaller to empowered and stronger. So here are the sneaky, not intentional, but habitual restriction patterns that I most often see in midlife women. The first is that they simply don't have a plan for what they're going to eat that day. The plan is just to grab something on the go or eat their kiddos' leftovers or throw something together. And usually that means they're not eating enough really high nutrient and densely nutritious food. And the volume of food is probably off in the beginning of the day. And for midlife optimal health, we're looking at thought leaders like Dr. Mary Claire Haver, like Dr. Stacy Sims, like Dr. Vonda Wright. And all of these midlife women's health experts are saying we need to be doing the opposite. We need to be planning with intention what we're eating so that we can actually add to our plate and hit some really important nutrition goals, which if you're going to do that, like increasing fiber, increasing plant diversity, increasing protein intake, it really does require the opposite of a restriction mindset. It requires a more of like an abundance or a nurturing mindset where you're thinking from the beginning of the week or from the beginning of the day, what are all the nutrients and nourishment I can be giving to my body? We're making a plan to eat, and we're not making that plan from like a rigid calorie restriction mindset, but we're actually making it from a nutrient bountiful mindset. The second sneaky restriction pattern that I see is that people are delaying when they're bringing food into their bodies. They have this idea of a very long fasting window and they may not feel hungry in the morning. And that's usually just years of conditioning, not eating first thing in the morning. But we're having this long window of time in the morning until like midday or mid afternoon until we start eating. And that's actually the opposite of what those health experts are recommending we do. They recommend for healthy body muscle composition and for better metabolic health that we actually eat earlier in the day. And the recommendation is within 30 to 60 minutes of waking that we are getting that metabolic fire stoked by bringing high quality protein into our lives first thing in the morning. This first thing in the morning helps with metabolic health, as I just said, but it also actually has been shown to improve circadian rhythm, resulting in better sleep, which is incredible. Also, it helps with better mood regulation. So you're not starting the day from a deficit, but you're really signaling safety to your nervous system and to your body that you have everything that you need to face the day. And it's changing that subtly restricting mindset of really giving to and nourishing and nurturing your body. Just like you wouldn't dream about sending your kid out the door with a great breakfast and all their snacks and a plan for lunch. I want you to think about sending that same love and attention to yourself. And that starts with having a plan and starting to implement that plan, kind of front loading it into your day rather than restricting and waiting until the end of the day to eat. And then the final thing that I hear most often is feeling like you're trying to stretch out your space in between eating occasions much too long for the midlife body. We really want to be bringing some intentional nourishment in every 3 to 4 hours from within 30 minutes of waking until like a cutoff time in the evening that gives our bodies a break to be able to rest and digest. So, midlife women health recommendations, we're letting go of intermittent fasting. We're letting go of not having a plan. We're letting go of having like long 5, 6, 7 hour stretches in between meals. And we're saying yes to intentional and abundant, nutrient dense food, eating regularly, eating with intention, and really adding to our plates as much as possible. That way you don't have to worry too much about any extras that come onto your plate because you're going to be really nourished from a deep place. So it's easier to make thoughtful choices around the less nutrient dense, but really fun and special foods that we want to invite into our lives. So if we just look at that restriction mindset, that smaller, stay small, be quiet, don't have desires, limit your pleasure, limit your joy. Otherwise, you'll be out of control and unattractive. We really want to debunk all of that mental chatter and start nurturing and growing a different mindset and a different relationship with ourselves, moving from small to strong, to connected to well nourished, to fueling this vital life force energy inside of you so that you can do big, amazing things with your love, with your care, with your intellect, with your body, and with this one precious life that we all have. Okay, let's take a look at that second kind of out to date, getting smaller kind of goal, which is where we think that if we don't have like an hour or 2 hours or whatever the amount of time is that you're used to, maybe pre-kids, pre-midlife, working out or investing in a movement practice in your body. The outdated thought is if I don't have a long time and if I'm not going all out and like extremely hard every time I'm doing it, then it doesn't really count. And counting is trying to be in like a calorie deficit or trying to continue to make your body smaller. And I love in midlife just flipping that on its head and letting joyful, intentional, strength building movement be a regular part of our day and making what we're trying to do work with the limitations of the season of life that you're in. We want to be bringing in twice weekly strength sessions, full body strengthening sessions, and those could be 30 minutes long if that's the time frame that you have. We also want to be bringing in twice weekly, really strategic cardio sessions that don't have to be long and drawn out, but that are kind of high intensity interval or sprint interval training style so that you can really get your metabolic health and your neurological health like ignited and working really well for you. And then we want to be bringing in restorative movement where you're stretching, you're walking, you're doing things that help you to rest and just restore a kind of joy of being in your body and thinking about it and caring about it and doing small things to make it feel cared for as much as you can. So if you feel like you've been either avoiding movement because you feel like you can't squeeze it into your schedule with an outdated length of time, or like you feel like you need to chain yourself to a treadmill, which if that's not your thing, no, you don't have to do that. We can find a movement pattern for you that both conditions your muscles and gets your heart nice and strong and then keeps that range of motion and mobility and balance really, really dialed in so that you can age with intention and with grace, and that your body can find its natural set point that it feels most empowered, strongest, and most fully alive to take you into your life and to do big, brave, and beautiful things. So if you can't find that window of time because it needs to be something it used to be, or if it's just this really long format or unappealing thing, we've got to flip that around. We can do shorter format and we can find a way of moving your body that hits those strength and heart health goals that is actually enjoyable for you. Or if you have regular movement practice, have it baked in, but you're starting to notice that you're gaining weight, that your body isn't responding in the way that it used to, it's because, hello, welcome to perimenopause. Those long drawn out cardio sessions don't work very well for many women after they hit a tipping point of a certain age. So we want shorter and more strategic movement patterns that really optimize the midlife body composition changes that are occurring. So when it comes to movement, whether you've been kind of struggling to get movement into your daily schedule, or whether you've been doing a lot of movement, but it seems like your body isn't responding in the same way. I actually think the invitation and the gift of this season of life is that we can find shorter format, high potency movement patterns that really support our longevity, but also our health span and our metabolic health. I'll be sure to link all of the abundant sources of information that are out there between those three thought leaders that I described earlier. I'll link their sites, I'll link their information. They give so many wonderful guidelines for what women could be focusing on in midlife to improve and really invest in their physical health. And here's the thing, my friend, these are the things that midlife women actually need to have vibrant health. They need solid sleep. They need solid rest and recovery. They need solid stress management practices and skills, especially the skills that have to do with dealing with the ups and downs we all experience emotionally. Those ups and downs can be stressors, like hidden stressors going on the inside. So we want strategies for stress management. We want a movement practice that prioritizes resistance training and specific and strategic cardiovascular training. And just a little shout out for resistance training. Building muscle mass is the single most effective lifestyle change a midlife woman could make. So muscle is metabolically active. It protects our bones, it stabilizes our joints, and it supports brain health. So you really want to keep incorporating resistance training and keep increasing the weight with which you bring that resistance into your body so that you can activate a real sense of power, not just muscularly, but emotionally and mentally and kind of energetically. We want to think about getting bigger with our lives, getting braver with the way that we show up, bolder with how we share our gifts and talents with the world. And that can really be supported when we're using our bodies to create more strength through muscle tone and physicality. We want to be also fueling for strength as a midlife woman. So, protein and fiber and biodiversity through plants so that we've got really good inflammatory support, keeping all of our systems as thriving and healthy as possible. And then finally, considering menopausal hormonal therapy support as a tool is a big deal. Dr. Haver lets us know that HRT combined with exercise has significant beneficial effects on skeletal muscle mass, strength, and protection from the wear and tear that the loss of estrogen can play on almost all of our body systems. You always want to work with a recently trained and well qualified provider to help you with getting that menopausal hormonal therapy dialed in for your body and your unique needs. Again, in the show notes, I'll be sure to link a directory that I always reference for this type of a provider. So over the course of, years and years on this podcast, I'm going to be talking about all of those midlife tenets. The sleep, the recovery, the stress management, the movement principles, and the nourishment practices, and then the hormonal influence. We want to make sure we're investing in all 6 of those areas with regularity. And we're doing a high picture overview look at where we're at because this experience of being in midlife, we're changing continually. What worked 3 months ago or 6 months ago or a year ago might not work today. So I think that's kind of one of the reasons why moving from smaller in your mindset to stronger is so powerful and important. We want to get bigger on the inside for the changes that we're going to experience. We want to get more capacity on the inside to grow a relationship with our bodies that is intentional and nurturing and healing and nourishing. We want to get stronger in our ability to be present with our lives, to be noticing things that we might not prefer in our bodies, but not have that be a problem as we're trying to connect and experience and be a part of our lives. This is what I want for myself and for you, to be strong and connected and capable and fully present in our lives, not smaller and distracted and self-conscious and limited. So I invite you to practice that mindset flip rather than smaller and shrinking and kind of hyper focusing on the things about our bodies we don't prefer. Really shifting the mindset to growth, to strength, to renewal of connection and investment in our bodies as they are, and then turning toward our bodies and renewing our efforts to keep investing in our body's health and well-being. Not to have like a summer shrinking body, but to have a body that is well nourished, well moved, well rested, and well talked to, that is a cherished member of your family from the inside out. If you've made it all the way to the end of this podcast, I thank you so much for your time and attention. And I want to hear from you. What's the one kind of most common restriction mindset that you could relate to? Is it restricting your food intake in any of the ways that I talked about? Or is it restricting your idea of what movement needs to look like in order to continually be on this like weight loss treadmill, perpetual hamster wheel of trying to lose weight, trying to lose weight? Which one of those two could you relate to the most? And then I would love to hear from you. What is your mindset or your antidote to either of those that represents to you getting stronger, braver, bolder, more intentional, better nourished, better supported? I can't wait to hear it. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.